It is one of the most quotable movies of all time. A young farm girl and her dog are swept away by a tornado from Kansas into the magical land of Oz.
It's safe to say The Wizard of Oz is a movie that pretty much everyone has seen, but in Brevard County, there's a relatively new attraction based on the timeless classic.
Never knew it existed. News 6 Insider guide Crystal Moyer followed the yellow brick road, well, the yellow brick GPS to that museum, Crystal.
Oh, yeah. The Wizard of Oz Museum is new and hasn't even been open a year yet, but it's inspiring visitors to look back at the history of Oz.
This is everything I have. I don't believe in stocks or gold or anything else. This is what my treasure is.
For 35 years, Frederick Trust has been collecting anything and everything Wizard of Oz. Items depicting well-known characters like Dorothy, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, the Wicked Witch of the West, and the Great and Powerful Oz. Rare, some one-of-a-kind dolls, plates, Oz-inspired board games, even Dorothy's iconic ruby slippers, sharing his treasures in the Wizard of Oz Museum he opened in Cape Canaveral.
The most prized book is the first edition copy. This is the first known copy that's in existence, dated May 23rd of 1900.
Trust says it was the original stories that got him obsessed with the world of Oz. The story first read to him in the former Soviet Union when he was a kid.
When the movie came out in 1939, one of the Russian translator, his last name Volkov, he actually translated the story and presented the story as the Russian story. He made a couple changes to the stories. I came to the United States in 1980s. In the late 80s, I started looking for the books to read to my kids, and of course the story popped up in my head, and I started looking for it. And the first thing I discovered, this is American fairy tales, and then I see there is not only Wizard of Oz, but there's like Land of Oz, Ozma of Oz, Road to Oz, Emerald City of Oz. There's so many titles. I was so confused and then started doing the research.
There are 40 books in all considered part of the original World of Oz, published in dozens of different languages. The storyline different from the classic Wizard of Oz movie starring Judy Garland. Scenes Trust illustrates with an immersive experience inside the museum, transporting visitors into the 19th century World of Oz.
In the story, Tin Man used to be a man who was in love with the Munchkin girl and he would like to marry her. But Wicked Witch of the East does not want them to get married, so she cursed his axe. And every time he went to the wood to cut wood, he would cut part of his body that he had to replace with the tin part. And that's how he became a Tin Man.
Trust working with animators to recreate characters straight from the original books. 1 minute of scene taking 3 months to bring to life.
In the book, when they fall asleep in the poppy field, the line was too heavy to pull out of the poppy field, so Tin Man decided to build a wagon.
You'll notice mice using strings to help pull the wagon, like it's explained in the original story.
The intention of the museum to inspire people interest to learn about the books, because books are the one who actually caused the creation of the famous movies that everybody aware of.
Trust says in all his Oz collection is worth more than $10 million. Let's bump you up here. There we go. And he has plans to continue growing that collection. He's also in the process of creating more scenes for the immersive experience. That's really cool. After you walk through, he actually sells some of the original stories.
That's cool.
So maybe people like Alessia can learn about the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I
Alessia,
learned
do
a
you
lot
want to
just
go?
in that story.
Do you want to go to that? That looks like a pretty cool
The
spot.
museum.
Sure.
She wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
She was too excited about being on TV today. She's not really
frozen
this shy.
in place.
Well, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's really neat. And I think a lot of people don't understand that there are books before the movie that we know and love. So it's the original storylines. There are 40 different books part of the series, and you could just take forever to read about all the different things in Oz. So I think it's really cool. And he even has like Judy Garland's clothes and fur coat. And
it's amazing.
He's like one of a kind things that you can look at and see and just reminisce. It's really neat.
Yeah. And that's going to get a lot of traffic, especially when you've already got lots of tourists coming through there, for the Space Center and cruises, and it's something great to do as an additional activity or a field trip.
Or just bring your kids.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff to look at, and that immersive experience, they can sit in there and look at the different scenes and then read the books that talk about the scenes that you're just in. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. You got anything to say about The Wizard of Oz?
Are you our fifth anchor now?
Yeah, she is. I'm serving her.
She's our kindergarten correspondent,
That's what
right?
it is. That's what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Last day of summer.
Yes.
Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, back to school tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Crystal
Thanks,
and Alessia.
Crystal.